Welcome back to the Break the Ring podcast, except it's not a podcast. Today we're doing WWE PLEs of 2024 tier list. Although you might not see his, whatever you want to call it, profile picture on Discord, he is here, the fat boy himself.
Oh, Parker.
Yeah, he's here. So we got a bit of a disclaimer. I didn't know how good NXT was until about halfway through the year, a little less. Um, so I didn't really watch a lot of the beginning like PLEs of NXT, and
I did.
I didn't watch them all the way through for most of them. So Parker is a NXT lover. He literally went to the show. You saw the vlog that just got posted not too long ago. So
Mhm.
yeah, let's
I
let's
know all the. I know. I know. I should know all the match cards
okay.
from each, so
We're
we should
gonna
be good.
break down this tier real quick. HOF stands for Hall of Fame. If you didn't know that already, we're not gonna put a lot in there. It's gonna be like probably one from each brand, if you want to call them brands of main roster in NXT. Um, but yeah, without further ado, we're gonna work our way from Royal Rumble to Deadline. First up, Royal Rumble 24. Now, I personally don't think we can put it anywhere below B, and I think we could put it even S. I mean, Women's Rumble carried that night. Um, the matches were pretty decent. The main event being the Rumble was alright. It was also a little confusing because, like, there was a whole thing with Seth still being there.
Yeah.
The ending to Men's Rumble was great, but it wasn't as good as the women's, no matter what you say. The surprises in the women's were far better. You had Jordan Grace, Naomi, Liv Morgan returning. But the men's, we did have Sami Zayn and CM Punk making some returns, which were pretty cool. Just explain.
I think it should be A tier. The men's rumble wasn't great, and I'm not gonna pretend like it was because it wasn't amazing. Women's rumble was clearly match of the night at this pay per view. There was, I believe, three. There was like three surprises: Naomi, Jordan Grace, and Liv Morgan. Oh, four because of Jade Cargill.
Oh yeah, true.
But I I think this should be B because of the women's rumble strictly, and the other matches were pretty decent as well.
Wait, you said B? I thought you said A.
Oh, A, my bad, my
Oh
bad, I
yeah,
meant
okay.
A.
Yeah, I agree too. I like I said, it could have gotten S, but I personally think that with only one of the matches really being the standout, you can't really put it any higher than A. Moving on to NXT Vengeance Day. Main event was solid. It was NXT's championship. It was Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. And that's when we got the turn of Carmelo Hayes, which really shot him up even more into the main roster scene. Because, as we'll see, not too far after he makes his first appearance. So
Mhm.
I definitely like Vengeance Day for what I saw, but like I said, I only saw the main event.
So I personally, some of these matches were decent. I mean, obviously it is NXT, so you're not gonna have you because it is the at this point now it's considered like a B show in my opinion. But at this point it wasn't great. So the matches weren't as good as they were like later on in the year, like with Heat Wave or Halloween Havoc or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first match, I'm just gonna go through like the matches really quickly. The first match, I'm 90% sure these are in order if I remember right. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker defeat Mello and Trick.
Hey, an undefeated
Uh,
tag team.
yes, in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, who the winner received a future NXT Tag Title match, which Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin defeated Trick and Mello, which that's when Mello turned. So that was pretty cool. That was a really good match. I really liked it. The next match was a no DQ match between Dijak and Joe Gacy, which Dijak ended up
Oh,
winning.
I remember that now.
Mm,
Oh, why would they get rid of Dijak, dude?
I don't know. He was really good.
Well, they didn't really get rid of him. They just
It was
stopped. They just stopped
yeah.
him. But
It was decent. Um,
I think we definitely know where Dijak shined through this year on a PLE.
yeah. Um, but that match wasn't anything special. It was good, but nothing crazy. This match, I personally didn't really like. It was Tony D'Angelo, Stacks, and Adriana Rizzo versus OTM. and
I
Jada
remember
Parker.
now. Yeah. It
The
wasn't
D'Angelo
anything
family ended up
special.
winning.
It wasn't
It
anything
wasn't.
special. It was mainly just to showcase their new pickups. And I believe
Yeah.
Jada and Rizzo were new at this time, weren't they?
I think Rizzo was more new.
Yeah.
Um, but that match was okay. The D'Angelo family ended up winning.
I think,
So this was
honestly, I think we can safely say our ranking at this point. At least I can.
mm, um this next match was it's not really confusing, but you know what I mean. It was Lyra versus Roxanne at first, but in the middle of the not I'm not pretty sure it was in the middle of the match. Lola Vice cashed in her NXT breakout tournament shot, which is like NXT's Money in the Bank type thing, and making the match technically a triple threat.
Yeah.
Just like Lyra still ended up retaining, so I felt bad for Lola because she cashed in. Well, cashed in, you know what I mean. Okay, then next, second to last match, North American title match between Oba and Dragon Lee. Some pretty cool spots with Dragon Lee, but Oba ended up retaining, as we all clearly know. He lost it like a few months ago.
Dude, I don't even think he should have lost it to Tony. Unless they're going to give him the NXT title, I don't think he should have lost it.
They're gonna give him it.
Unless they
And
said
then
that Oba was.
NXT title match between Ilya and Trick, which Ilya ended up
It was
winning
so good.
to retain.
I think we can safely put this B. You agree?
Yeah, I say B's pretty
Because
decent
it
spot
had
for
some good matches, but then again, there were those ones where it's like easily forgettable that even happened.
Like I almost forgot about Dijak and Joe.
Moving on to Elimination Chamber Perth. Now I already have to deduct it a couple of points because I had to get up at like 5 a.m. to watch this. Because we're on the East Coast here. But other than that, I don't really like this one that much. The chamber matches were great. Um, the women's, for some reason, this year, the women had very great gimmick matches for like the type of match that it was. Like as we'll see coming up with Money in the Bank. The women's elimination chamber was levels ahead of the men's, and I definitely think it was because of who they picked for the women's because we had so many high flyers and the new Tiffany Stratton.
Yep.
We also had the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, which was mid. It wasn't anything crazy.
I was
Um,
expecting The Rock or somebody cool to
Also,
come out because they were building up.
the show started, we had Indy and Candace versus was it
Kyrie
yeah, it was
and
the Road
Asuka, who
Warriors
were
at the
the
time.
they only
So the
did
tag
that
team titles.
they only did that because they wanted Indy to get on her on the show at her home.
Which that match is actually kind of good. I was surprised. Um, but yeah, I did like the beginning of the show, and then it went really south. We had what was it? No, it was Newcastle Republic versus Judgment Day, Finn Balor, and
Priest.
Damian Priest. Yeah, at the time it was Priest. Versus obviously Newcastle Republic for the unified tag team titles.
I'm gonna be so
Obviously,
honest. I fell asleep during that match.
it wasn't great. It had no storyline. And
Yeah.
then the biggest letdown of them all was Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley. Or no, was it Nia? Yeah,
Yep. Yep. It
Nia
was
Jax
nice.
versus Rhea. It was all right. Rhea carried heavily.
Mm.
Um, because at the time Nia still was like getting better. I definitely think she's been better, but I think that this show was mid.
Yeah. It was okay. I think high D tier to low C tier, if you know
I'd
what I
say
mean.
C because the
Yeah, we'll
chamber
see. We'll
matches
put
were
it C.
good. It's like an even of good and bad. Now this one, oh my God, Stand and Deliver, you have outdone yourself this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, run through the match card.
All right, the match card: NXT Championship match between Ilya Dragunov and Tony D'Angelo,
Fire.
which obviously Ilya ended up retaining. I do think I just started from the main event.
You did, but it's whatever.
My bad. Um,
Let's just cut to the chase. Oba Femi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs.
mm-hmm.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, if
NXT.
it was in a Tokyo Dome, Meltzer would have gave it 20 stars. It
If
was
it was in the
so,
Tokyo,
dude, it was
it
so
was so
good.
Sigma.
It was a masterpiece. It was the perfect combination because they were all bigger dudes who could move fast.
Yeah.
And that itself puts this up there for me. It was just so good. We also had Roxanne winning her title off of Lyra, right? I believe.
Yeah. One sec.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lyra.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
then she's still holding it to this day. I forget the
Oh
other
yeah.
matches, but dude.
Um
Oh, we had the
uh
Wolf Dogs. The Wolf Dogs. They
yeah,
won, right?
Wolf Dogs versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier.
And
With
then
Axiom and Nathan Frazier won.
yeah, they got the tag titles that they're holding right now.
Yep. Which they did lose in the middle of
But
it,
then
but
they
then
got
won
them
it
back
back.
immediately because they're so good. And
Basic.
Fraxium is fine.
No, they're not. Um Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, that barn burner, dude. That barn burner, man. That thing.
Mm.
I could watch that 10 times a day and I wouldn't get tired of it.
Thea Hale, Fallon Henley, and Kalani Jordan versus JC Jane, Kiana James, Izzy Dame.
That might be the only
Um,
bad match on there, and that's just because it was really only one star of that, like out of
yeah. And then during the countdown show, Joe Gacy versus Sean Spears.
I, I personally think this is up there for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's that Mania feel and it was right before night one, but I would be willing to put it A tier.
I personally would say B tier.
Okay.
So if you want to, we could keep it like the highest in B tier or the
Yeah,
lowest in A
let's put
tier.
it high B.
Okay.
I do think it was good though. Like that
It
main
was it was good.
the
I'm
main
not saying
event.
it wasn't good, but
Honestly,
there's plenty
I
more.
think main event should have gone to Trick Mello. Like that.
Probably.
That would have WrestleMania night one and two. I didn't feel like doing both of them because in the end we really just remember it as one big event. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Night one started with Rhea and Becky, where Rhea ended up retaining. Great match. It was short, but with the conditions that they were in, where Rhea was having panic attacks, makes sense. Moving
Yeah.
on, we had was it the tag team ladder match? Something like that. It was.
I something like that.
Uh,
You don't have to go in order. We can just remember.
Awesome Truth and A Town Down Under winning. A Town Down
Mhm.
Under were great heel champions, and Awesome Truth were actually very good because our Truth, and like honestly, our Truth carried.
Yeah.
And then also we had the hardcore match with the Pride versus Final Testament with
With
special
Bubba
guest Bubba
Ray.
Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley. And this was a hardcore match for WWE. They were actually doing good spots, and I think it's all because they had Montez Ford, who doesn't care. He'll jump off anything as long as he can touch the ground afterwards.
Yeah, he's basically like the Darby Allin of
He's
AEW,
so
in my opinion,
of AEW.
or WWE. Shut up. Sorry.
um, but yeah, I mean that first night was also the night that we saw Seth and Cody versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. Uh, and that was
Which
how
was
we got
awesome.
tribal combat for night two. Night two,
Um,
oh my god, we had Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre ended up winning, but when it went over to CM Punk, he was attacked, and the Damian Priest cashed in, and he became world champion. Such a great sequence of
I
events.
love how we just skipped over Sammy and Gunther, but yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
night two. That's night two.
Is it?
Yeah, it was.
I swear to God, it was the one. It was
Oh
one
wait, no,
match
you're right. You're right.
before
You're right. It was night one because night two, KO
was
had his
Bailey and
match.
Io before.
Night two, KO had his match with Randy and okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, Sammy Gunther. Sammy finally beat Gunther after months of like crying to Chad Gable that he needed help. Um,
Yeah,
which I'm not saying that like he's weak because he pinned Gunther, but that was also a great reign by Sammy. Didn't lose it till SummerSlam. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, moving on to night two now. After we already said Drew and Seth, we had freaking what was after that? I don't even remember what was after. But we had the three-way: Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul, where
Mhm.
ISO Speed showed up and got RKO'd, and somehow Logan Paul retained. I don't even know. Bailey did end up becoming women's champion over Io, and this main event, oh my god.
I was screaming.
Although it was so obvious that Cody had to win here, they made it so good. The surprises we had. All right, let's see. We had Rock Solo, Cena, Undertaker,
Jimmy,
Shield
Jay.
Seth, Jimmy and Jay, seven,
That's it.
seven cameos, if you want to call it that, that led up to this finish, which was so good. The three crossroads and the three count for Cody Rhodes to become champion. And then we had the
Mm.
entire locker room, not the entire, but like
It was everybody
everybody else,
who's
Cody's
lost to
friends.
Roman Reigns.
All of
It
Cody's
was
friends.
everybody who it was everybody who lost to Roman Reigns in his undisputed title run.
Dude, it was so good, bro. I mean, Parker, I think we know where this is going, right?
It's got to go Hall of Fame.
It's got to. It's got to. It's one of the best WrestleManias ever, if not the best. Moving on to Backlash France. Now, although the crowd was great, nothing else was really memorable. We had AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes, and that's really it. AJ Styles versus Cody, phenomenal match. I mean, it's called a phenomenal one for a reason. But other than
Mm.
that, not a very memorable PLE in my opinion. I really can't think of anything else that happened that was as good as Cody and AJ Styles.
Yeah. Jay and Priest.
That's true. That was good.
That was a decent match. I'd say this goes B tier.
That's where I would put it too. It was great with the crowd, but matches were not memorable. That's my only opinion.
Besides Cody and AJ, obviously.
Yeah. Moving on to King and Queen of the Ring. Now, for a Saudi PLE, this wasn't horrible. But
Mm.
in the end, it's still Saudi. They're so biased for the men coming out. You barely get a reaction out of any of the women coming out. The
Yeah.
matches were all right. We had Cody versus Logan in the main event. Uh,
Hmm.
but other than that, and the King and the Queen of the Ring matches, another one that just kind of gets lost. You don't really remember what happened. Um,
Yeah. Um,
I would put it
I think
C.
Gunther. Yeah, I would say it's C tier. It wasn't great.
It was only good
Um,
for like
Liv did win. Liv did win her
that's true.
title,
She did win that. That
but
was
besides that, nothing insane.
moving on to the next. We have NXT Battleground. This is when I started really watching because the hype over this was insane. They're at the UFC Apex in Vegas. I really only watched this because of Jordan Grace, Ethan Page, and Sean Spears. This was Ethan and
Mhm.
Sean's like first big match since they came back, and that main event was very, very good. Now,
Mm.
if I have one thing to take away from this, the inaugural NXT North American Women's Championship match felt so
Mhm.
short. It felt like they had just started and then Kalani grabbed the title. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was good. I definitely put it above C tier, but I don't think it goes that far.
Yeah. Um. So I'll just read off the matches real quick, just like refresh your memory. So first match was NXT Women's North American title match. Between Lash Legend, Meech and Soul, Ruka Fallon, Henley, Jaden Parker, and Kalani Jordan, and Kalani ended up winning, which was really cool. I got high fives from three of the people in this match. Just saying. Then NXT tag title match between Axiom and Nick Frazier versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Obviously, Fraxium ended up retaining. NXT Underground match, first one in a while, which was Lola Vice defeated Shayna Baszler via referee stoppage because Lola Vice knocked Shayna out. NXT North American champion triple threat match, championship triple threat match. She just had a stroke and died. Obafemi defeated Wesley and Joe Coffey to retain his North America title. Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace. Roxanne defeated Jordan Grace to retain her title. And then Trick versus Ethan. Ethan's first match. Trick defeats Ethan for his title. Oh no, Trick defeats Ethan to retain his title. My bad, my bad, my bad.
I think this goes B tier.
I'd say B tier, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
I
pretty good
don't think it's
match.
better than I don't think it's
Match
better
card.
than Backlash, but I don't think
No.
Vengeance Day is better than Backlash either. I'm gonna move that. I think that's good, right? Do you agree?
Harder.
I don't think
Yeah.
Domination is above King and Queen. Moving on to Clash at the Castle. This is another one of those over the seas PLEs, so we have a lot of people from that area in this show. For example, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. Couldn't think for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Hear
he ended
that.
up getting in trouble because he lost. because he low blowed CM Punk, who pretended to, or no, he attacked CM Punk, who low blowed Drew McIntyre because CM Punk pretended to be the referee. He got mad and all that.
Mhm.
Uh, we also had the Witches, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, become tag team champions in their hometown, which is pretty
Mhm.
solid. But I think the best part of this show, and I'm sorry if I skipped over some other good matches, but oh my god, the I Quit match between Cody and AJ was actually good.
I did not like the ending though.
That was a yeah, I don't know. It was all right. Yeah. They should have had him like duck it or something. The stairs open. I don't know. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really remember much of it. I think this is another B tier. What about you?
Yeah, I'd honestly, I'd like to, I'd say it could go low A tier personally, because I think also because the surprise of Punk.
Piper. Yeah, honestly, we also had Piper Rio, which is solid.
Mm.
I'd say A, but it's low A. Like
No,
it's a
it was
skipped.
Piper Bailey. It was Piper Bailey.
Was it? Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was. It was. My bad. My bad. My bad. I'm stupid. Um, and I think we know where this next one's going.
Yeah.
All that hype, and then the matches were just trash. Like, other than the Money in the Bank matches, the women's was great and the men's was decent.
Hmm.
The pick for Tiffany, great. Pick for Drew, mid. I don't know
Yeah.
why they really did that. And then they blew it all away that same night with Punk screwing over Drew when he cashed it in on Seth and Damien. All going
After a
back,
botched pin.
all going back to WrestleMania 40. It was just, it just wasn't good. It just really wasn't good. Go watch it back, and oh my god, we get the apology letter in the next month because all that NXT Heatwave. Now this main event itself can go in Hall of Fame. It was so good. Ending could have been a little better, but I see why they did it.
Hmm.
Um, run over the match guard. Run over the match guard.
Okay, so the countdown for the pre-show, we had Carmen Petrovich and Ariana Grace, who we haven't seen in a while, actually. Ariana Grace versus JC Jane and Jasmine Nix via pinfall. That was the countdown pre-show. NXT North NXT North American Championship match where there's somewhat of a stipulation where if Oba wins, Wesley can never challenge for the title as long as Femi is champion. And Oba Femi, as we know, defeated Wesley with like a and there was so many like awesome spots. There's like an F-15 is what people were calling it. There's like Wesley being a high flyer, Obafemi being a big dude. It was just awesome. NXT Women's North American Title match. It was the first time that it was being defended. Kalani versus Soul, which Kalani ended up winning by
I love
pinfall.
Sol Ruka, dude. She's so
Ayo.
good. Yeah.
NXT Tag Team Championship match between Axiom Nathan Frazier versus Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, which Fraxium again we know won. And then NXT Women's Title match Roxanne versus Lola, which Roxanne ended up winning. Yeah, and then NXT Fatal 4-Way match, which was awesome. The ending, honestly, a lot of people didn't like it. I personally loved it. This this match, dude, with Javon going crazy, like almost dying on the announce table,
Oh my god.
like
He was
trick,
he was
like
going through it with these
trick, like Ethan accidentally pinning Javon.
and winning
It
the
was
match. Yeah.
crazy.
I think
And
this
but
goes.
after, hold on, shut up.
Okay, okay, I'm
After the
sorry.
match,
Jeez.
when the match
Oh my
ends,
god, it's blazing.
what shows up at the end? Joe Hendry. His music doesn't hit. He doesn't even. He's not even at the stadium. It's just a picture of him turning around.
Such a glaze.
Joe Hendry shows up, well, kind of at the end, and everybody's just
There's such a
shocked.
glaze.
Shut up! I hope you're. Never mind.
Okay. This is going A tier, and it's above Clash of the Castle but below Royal Rumble. Just because Rumble was so good. This is gonna be a hard one to beat, but honestly, this next one could beat it. But it's definitely better than Clash of the Castle. I just don't think
Mm.
it's as good as Rumble. But yeah, very good PLE from NXT there. SummerSlam. Now this is the apology letter that the WWE gave to us for what they did on Money in the Bank. Oh my god, these matches were so good. We had Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, women's World Heavyweight Championship, where Dominic ended up turning and showing that he wasn't really in it for Rhea, he was in it for Liv. Um, we had the right winner in Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the US Championship, where LA Knight finally got the title he deserved. We also had Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker, where finally, because for some reason at Money in the Bank they didn't pull the trigger, Braun Breaker got the title. And oh my god, this main event was so lackluster. But we had it with Roman Reigns returning. And the reason I haven't brought up my favorite match is because it's my favorite match. The, the match between Solo and Cody was arguably one of the worst Cody matches in his reign so far. But
Oh
the
yeah.
ending made it way better with Roman Reigns returning. The OTC, throw them ones up. The only true tribal chief, the only tribal chief, the only tribal chief. Um, but then, I mean, I know I just called out Parker for Glaze and Hendry, but like CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, special guest referee Seth Rollins was so good. Parker, I'm sorry, you can't stop me. This is going S.
Oh yeah.
It's so good, dude. The only bad match that happened, and it wasn't even bad. It was just that it was boring. Was
Mm.
was Cody and Solo.
Solo.
Gunther also pinned Damian Priest to win the World Heavyweight Championship, which he is still holding on to right now, and hasn't dropped it or even looked like he was going to drop it since.
Yeah. He
Moving
has been pinned though since that crown jewel.
moving on to Bash in Berlin, we have Gunther as world champion, facing off against Randy Orton, who he barely pinned at King and Queen of the Ring.
He did it. His shoulders were up.
Um, and so that match was pretty solid. It was a really great technical match, but I don't really like technical stuff. We've been over this. Um, Other than that, we also had CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, dog. No, was it dog call? Strap match. Strap match. That's what it was. And we had Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, which was decent. What do you have to say about this, Parker?
I I I really liked it. Sorry for stuttering. I really liked the pay per view. I, in my opinion, think it should be, I don't know, B tier.
B. I agree with that. To be honest, I think I think it's mm, I think it's better than Battleground, but not as good as Vengeance Day.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Parker, go ahead and just talk about this next one here. Just glaze, just do it, get it over with.
NXT No Mercy, my favorite NXT pay per view of the year. So, the first match was Andre Chase and Rich Holland, who were the NXT Champs, versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier, who Nathan Frazier and Axiom ended up beating them to reclaim their titles. And then I'm pretty sure this is where Ridge turned on Andre.
Yes, isn't it?
After this, my favorite match of the night personally, Zachary Wentz versus Wes Lee.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
This was an awesome match.
That was a great one.
I'm trying to think. Was it? Yeah, it was this one. Okay, my bad. Yeah, this match was awesome. I loved it. I would marry it if it was a woman. NXT Women's North American Title match. Wendy Chu, who we also haven't seen in a while, versus Kalani Jordan, and Kalani Jordan retained her title. And that match was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of it.
I'm not a huge fan of
NXT
it.
North American Championship match. Obafemi versus Tony D, and Obafemi won this one to retain his North American Championship. That was pretty cool. It was a pretty decent match. NXT Women's title match. Roxanne Perez versus Jada Parker, who Jada Parker actually came very close, but Roxanne did end up winning. Then the match of my second favorite match with the special guest referee of Trick Williams, Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship match. And if
Spout
the,
out all your misinformation about how close he was.
he was very close. You cannot say he was not
Nah, he was
close,
close.
dude.
He was close. Parker, where are we ranking No Mercy?
Easy A tier.
I agree. Matches were solid. Storytelling was solid. Um, Joe Hendry, automatic plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then moving on to what might be one of my favorite PLEs of the year, besides like one of the matches, Bad Blood. We started off with match of the year for Break the Ring podcast. That being CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in
Hmm.
Hell in a Cell. 5 stars. I mean, five
Oh
stars.
yeah.
It was so good. Um, we also had, let me think. We had Rhea versus Liv with Dominic Cage. That was the stinker of the night for sure. They messed up the reveal of Raquel, but other than that, it was all right. I'm trying to think of what else we had. Jeez, can't remember. We also had
I don't know. Maybe
Cody and Roman versus Solo and Jacob Fatu, with The Rock coming out and Jimmy Uso
and
returning.
Jimmy.
Um, I think the good outweigh the bad here, and I'd put it A tier.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think it's behind Rumble, in front of Heatwave. You think that's good?
Yeah.
All right.
Had to think about it. You know what? Yeah.
Now, this is a really decent pay per view for NXT. Here we have Halloween Havoc. I like the aspect that every match they spin the, or not like every, but most of the matches they spin the wheel and then they get the stipulation. I do like that.
Yep.
Um, we had Ridge versus Andre Chase in an ambulance match. We had a casket match. We had Devil's Playground match. We had a bunch of stuff.
I'll read off the matches.
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So the first match, NXT North America Champion Table Ladders and Scares match. Tony D'Angelo retains his title against Oba Femi.
I don't know how he did that.
Um, huh?
I generally don't know how they like did that. Like what?
Okay. Julia and Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne and Cora Jade, which Julia and Stephanie won. An ambulance match between Ridge and Andre Chase, which for some reason on this website does not have who won
It
it.
was Ridge.
Oh, it was. Okay. So yeah, Ridge. And then NXT North American Championship Spinner's Choice 3-on-1 handicap gauntlet match.
That was insane.
Fallon Henley defeats Kalani
After the two of her other team members,
after JC Jane and Jasmine Nix.
and yeah,
Um, yeah. So Fallon Henley became the NXT Women's North American Champion. And an NXT Devil's Playground match between Trick and Ethan. Trick defeats Ethan to retain his title. So that was a. I'd say that's a B tier.
wait, what? You just said Trick defeated Ethan,
Yeah, Trick defeated Ethan to retain his title.
but Ethan won at Heatwave. I don't know.
Yeah, Trick won at ECW.
No, he won on the debut show of CW. That's what it was.
That's what I just said.
You said no. You said ECW. You dingus.
Yeah,
No.
the debut show was
No,
ECW.
it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Was it
No, it
not?
wasn't. That was like the week after. I'm not even joking.
What the fiend?
Because remember, he won it with Punk as a special guest. He had the GTS on Ethan at the last second. Confetti was falling down.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think Halloween Havoc is for anywhere from
It's like
high B to low A.
yeah, I'd say
I think it's above Bash in Berlin actually, and then below Vengeance Day.
yeah. Me too. I think it's yeah.
Uh, we then had Crown Jewel with the Crown Jewel Championship. It was alright. It was decent at best.
Mm.
Um, Cody beat Gunther to become first ever Crown Jewel champion. Nia
Hmm.
lost, actually, I forgot that she lost for a second, to Liv Morgan, who became first ever women's Crown Jewel champion. Other than that,
Hmm.
I really, another show where I don't remember any other matches, to be honest. And with that being said, I think we go with where all the other ones went that I don't remember any of the matches. And I say above King and Queen and below Elim Chamber. What about you? And C tier.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
Because I do like Elim with the chamber matches, but King and Queen of the Ring was one of my worst pay per views of the year for sure.
Yeah.
Now we have. So here's the thing. I'm a sucker for Survivor Series War Games, and that's because I have the bias of going to one and loving it, and so I always love them all. So I immediately just want to put this S tier. I mean, so let's see. We opened with the Women's War Games, which was a solid 9 out of 10, or 8 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Then we moved on and we had the either the Intercontinental or the U.S. title match, which U.S. title Shinsuke ended up winning finally getting a championship after searching. Um,
Hmm.
we also had Braun Breaker retain against Ludwig and Sheamus. Great match. And then we had the men's war games between Roman Reigns, the original, let's just say, the original Bloodline, and CM Punk versus Solo's
Hmm.
Bloodline and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed put his body on the line literally because he broke his ankle and shattered it. And dude, Parker, can we just put this Hall of Fame? Like, please, it was so good.
What?
Survivor Series, so good.
No, I'd put it A
We
tops.
okay, we gotta put it S.
Oh, I forgot S was a category. Yeah,
S.
then do S.
I didn't watch Deadline because I
I
forgot what it
I did.
was.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just.
I don't
All right.
remember why though.
First match was. Can you shut up and just like let me speak? So the first match is the number one contender NXT Championship 5-man Iron Survivor match, which was supposed to be Ethan versus Javon versus Wes versus Nathan versus Eddie Thorpe, but Eddie Thorpe got attacked backstage during the match. So Obafemi returns and he ends up winning the match, which
Great
because
choice.
this is we'll just say this is going out after after Christmas Eve. We'll say that obviously. So I was like one of the first people to find this out. At New Year's Evil, it's going to be Trick versus Oba. Oh, Jonas, do you care if I spoil it for you?
Okay.
It's going to be Trick versus Oba versus Eddie as a triple threat for the NXT
That'll be
title.
good. That'll be good. I do not mind
It's
it.
going to be a very it's going to be a very
We're
good
filming
it's
this
going to
on
be a very good match.
Monday. So
Yeah, we're
this
filming this on a Monday,
this will
so the day
probably
before.
this will come out maybe Christmas Day. I don't even know.
NXT Underground match between Lola Vice and Jada Parker. This match was one of my favorites. Via TKO. The match wasn't great, but you know,
I
it's
did
it's
watch
always
that
it's
match though.
always a good match with Lola Vice. I'm just going just so you know. NXT Tag Title match. Fraxium versus Miles Born Tavion Heights,
I
and
love Tavion, dude. I wish Tavion won. I know you love Tavion because in the vlog you can
I
hear
got a
him
high
going
five. I got a
crazy.
high five from him. Yeah, I was going crazy. Um, and obviously Fraxium won pinfall. NXT Championship match: Trick versus Ridge. Trick obviously
If Ridge won that, I
defeats
honestly would have
Ridge.
been so
I
happy.
would have number one contender NXT Women's Championship match: 5-woman Iron Survivor. Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer versus Zarya versus Sol Ruka versus Ren Sinclair.
Are you
Um,
okay? What just happened?
sorry. Julia wins after pinning Zarya and becomes the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship match. And she ends up and she's having her match at New Year's Evil. against Roxanne
That
Perez.
is true. That is true. Julia honestly might win it. I don't know.
She might.
She didn't win it at her first chance, but this might be it.
When was the last time a woman had like a year-long reign as NXT
I
Women's Champion?
probably Mandy Rose when they gave her that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably.
So where are we putting Deadline? Um, above.
C tier.
What did you say?
C tier.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan personally.
You're right.
Besides
I mean,
the men's deadline match, everything else is kind of mid.
yeah. I'd
They should have put the men's as the
I'd
number one or as
say
the main
I'd say
event.
above a Elam Chamber, top of C. All right.
Dun, dun,
So
hoo, dun,
this
dun.
is our tier list. Worst. We can just call it this because it's the only one in this tier. Worst PLE, Money in the Bank. In
Yep.
C tier, we have King and Queen of the Ring, Crown Jewel, Elimination Chamber, Deadline. In B tier, we have NXT Battleground, Bash in Berlin, Halloween Havoc, Vengeance Day, Backlash France, and Stand and Deliver. A tier, we have Clash of the Castle, NXT No Mercy, NXT Heatwave, Bad Blood, and the Royal Rumble. S tier, we have Survivor Series War Games and SummerSlam Cleveland. And Hall of Fame, we have WrestleMania 40. And if we had to specify which night, it'd be night 2.
Yes.
So, Parker, um, we're not gonna do a podcast this week because Christmas and it's just gonna be confusing. So Parker, who is your wrestler of the week since we can't do it?
My wrestler, in my opinion, of the week. Again, I think I've done this guy before. It's Dante Chen,
Okay, pick a new one.
but I have a reason.
Oh, yeah,
Be-
go ahead.
because it's going to be the last NXT level up. And because Dante Chen's like a staple of the NXT level up community, last level up he is hosting a gauntlet match or something like that. Or no, battle
What
royale
does
or
that
gauntlet.
mean though? Like I'm
I
super
think he's gonna
confused.
take on a role as like a Robert Stone, and I hope he does. But who's gonna be in it? Nobody cool. I don't know why they're hosting. I think it's a battle royal. Actually, I'm gonna look it up, but you know what I mean.
All right, well that does it for the tier list of PLEs in 2024. Thanks for watching. This has been Break the Ring podcast.